What's up, everybody? This is Frederick Douglass Bussey back with another lesson training. We're talking about business and how six-figure business owners can grow and scale their business. If you're doing 20 to 50K a month and you want to add an extra 10K to your month every month, then these are some of the lessons and things that we're going to be focusing on, how you can continue to grow and scale your business in a profitable, efficient, and predictable manner. One of the things we want to talk about today is we've been talking a lot about this concept of time and how we get things done, right? Today I want to talk about why doing more doesn't always equal getting more done. In other words, why doesn't activity equal productivity, right? Actually, you can write that down. And it's a really simple concept, but a lot of us get it wrong. We believe that activity equals productivity. So how many of you have a to-do list that might be 10, 20 items long that you have to check off every single day? And so you're going on and you're checking this off and you're checking off the things that are getting done. But the more you check off, the more things are on your list. And the thing about running a business, no matter how successful it is that things are always going to be going wrong. What does that mean? It means that your list is always going to have something on it. You're never going to be done. You're going to wake up every day and have things you have to do every single day, and there's going to be new things that you have to add to that list or take off, no matter how much you check. And so what we want to do is we want to understand why our activity doesn't always equal productivity, but how can we be more productive, right? How can we put more checks and more wins on this side of the ledger? We're going to talk about that here in a second. Let's go to work. All right. So one of the things that you want to look at, apparently I have the world's loudest eraser. There was an Italian economist many years ago whose name was Alfredo Pareto. And he coined something that we now know as the Pareto Principle. There's an N in there somewhere. But the Pareto Principle is really simple. It says simply this. It's come to be known as the 80-20 rule. What does that mean? That means that 80% of your productivity, 80% of your output is going to be created by 20% of your input. In other words, if you have 80 employees, right? I'm sorry, if you have employees, let's say you have 10, but 10 employees, then 80% of the work or the results will be from 20% of your employees. Why is that? It's because that when you find out across the law of averages and we work with any system, this is even true in like biology, engineering, technology, that you're going to find that certain amount of inputs are going to generate more exponential results than others, right? And that's a really important factor because when you start looking at what you're doing every single day, but if you're not understanding how you're going to measure the results, then you are starting to look at everything as equal. So you may remember in a video I shared a little while ago, we talked about the 5 things, the 5 lies about time, the 5 myths that we believe. And one of those beliefs is that all time is equal and that all tasks are equal. So that's 2 different things, but all tasks are equal and all time is equal. And in reality, that's not true. Because if you're working on something that is less productive, but you're spending more time on it, you're actually losing productivity, right? But if you are focused on the things, the tasks that are most productive, you're actually going to be winning more and more. And across the board, what we find is that the Pareto Principle plays out in so many different ways. So the same is true of employees, but it's also true of time, activities, the things that you're focused on. No matter what you're doing, if you're in sales and you're selling a product, you're going to find that 20% of your customers are going to create 80% of your revenue, right? And it even works out in economics. Income inequality is something that is really, really on people's minds and prevalent, especially when we start talking about recessions and economic downturns and inflation and things of that nature. And what they find across the board is that 80% of the wealth in countries is in general controlled by 20% of the population. And so it breaks down roughly in those measures. Now, it doesn't always have to equal 100%, but in general, that's the average that works out that way. And so when you start to understand this, how you can implement it in your own business is to start looking at how can I create more productivity? Well, the first thing you have to look at is where is my 80%? What is the bulk of my results coming from, right? What's the outcome that I'm trying to optimize for? And then how do I figure out what those things are that I can hone in on to be able to create greater results that I want to be able to get out of my business? So let's talk about it in terms of money, right? So let's say you're doing 20K a month, right? It's a nice round number. So 20K a month, 80% of that would be $15K, right? Which means that there's something that you're doing that's producing the bulk of what you're working on. Actually, that's not right. That should be 16K. Right? So something you're doing is resulting in the bulk of your revenue. And that's important. Great. But imagine that you're spending 80% of your time doing things that only get you that extra $4,000 a month. Now, what you're in essence doing is you're losing the opportunity to maximize this 16%. Imagine if you could take the other 80% of your time and focus it strictly here, right? Focus it strictly here. So now you're actually creating 5 times this amount of money, right? So if in actuality, if you're doing if 80% of your work is getting you 16K, but you multiply that by 5, right? What does that give you? 30, 50, 80K. Why is that important? Because all of a sudden, by simply shifting your focus from the 20%, from the 80% of the work that you're doing that only gets you 20% of the revenue, which equals 4K, right? You're now turning your business into almost $1 million business simply by shifting the focus of what you focus on versus how much you get done, right? And so this is a key mistake that many entrepreneurs make, is that they don't understand where the bulk of their revenue is coming from. How do you, one, become more profitable? Yes. And I'll talk about this not just in terms of money, but in time. But time, as we have talked about before, does not equal money, right? We actually create more leverage. We create more leverage by shifting the amount of time and the inputs that we put into our time per day, right? Now imagine if simply by, the last thing I want to share, okay? And Debbie's commenting. Hi, Debbie, how are you? Debbie said, I'm going to put your comment up. By shifting our focus on what it is we're focusing on, shifting to 828. That's right. Right. Well, here's the other thing. So, and Debbie, you made the comment, simplify. So this is a very simple way of looking at it, but we can make it more complex. The thing about being able to scale your business is that you also want to be able to scale complexity. And when I say scale complexity, it means that if 20% of what you're doing is getting you 80% of the results, and you shift all your focus to that 20%. But what if let's say that just 80% of the things you're focused on, let's say that out of all the things you're doing, sales is the thing that generates the most, or your marketing is the thing that generates the most. Out of everything that you're doing, the 80-20 rule still applies. So there's 20% of this 80%, or 20% of this 80% that you're getting generated is still being generated. It's still generating a greater result. And so if you can focus on the 20% of the 20% of the 80% of the 20% that you're getting the output from, right? Now you can create exponential results because you understand how to optimize for that time. It could be that you're doing, well, I'll give you an example. So Microsoft will look at the different error messages that they get. So let's say your computer messes up, right? And when it messes up, you get the error message and ask if you want to send the actual error, notify Microsoft or Apple or whoever, right? So Microsoft is getting those answers, getting those error messages back. And what they realized was, if we just focus on the 20% of the error messages that we get back, because they represent 80% of the problems, we can exponentially fix our software so that it operates at 80% more efficiency, right? And so when you can focus on that part, you don't have to do all the things, because trying to fix everything doesn't get an equal outcome. It doesn't improve the outcome that you're getting exponentially. But if you focus on the part that really moves the needle, right? It's essentially like focusing on the right end of the shovel, right? Because the end of the shovel, the metal part at the bottom, is the biggest piece. But if you focus simply there, you're not going to get as much outcome. If you focus on the handle, and on the end of the handle, you're actually able to create a lever that moves the needle more powerfully for you, right? And so that's how the 80-20 rule really breaks down. And then we can break it down even further and focus on, let me illustrate it this way, because I look like an algebra teacher up here, and I'm really not. Well, let's say that the 80-20 rule is represented by this box of outputs, right? And so we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 20%, right? So this is your 20. Am I even on camera? Okay. This is the 20%. And this is your 80%. Now, this is your 20% of your inputs. And this is 80% of your inputs. And you'll notice that you're getting equal inputs to everything, right? So let's say that each of these represents an employee, one employee or one task or whatever the case may be. But one of them is giving you 80%, and the rest of them are giving you 20. I don't think I do this right, but I think you get the point. So, but imagine that now you go and you look at, okay, but what is the 20% of the 80% that I'm getting? So if I go here and break out this box and say, okay, but if I just add this element and focus here, right? Focus all my energy here, that's the key to getting this 80% done. And we just focus on that one thing, that can make me more efficient and more effective in every way possible. So drop some comments below if you're watching this live, you're watching this on replay. Let me know if this has been valuable for you. Why the Pareto Principle, the 80-20 rule works, and how we can apply that more to your business. We dive much deeper into this because there's a lot of different ways you can break this out and really start to understand how you can use this in your time to be more efficient in what you're doing. If you're stressed out, if you're always trying to figure out how you can get your 15, 12, 10-hour days cut down so you have more time to be with your family, to be able to enjoy the life that you're trying to build through your business, to be able to create more impact through the work that you're actually doing, then this is definitely something that you want to do. You want to check out the More Time, More Money Challenge, which is going to be coming up soon. You'll be hearing more information about that. But also feel free to drop a comment, send me a message, reach out to us here at Icon Status and let us know if there's some way that we can help you to continue to grow and scale your business and get it going. If there's anything that you would love to hear us talk about, a concept or something that maybe as a challenge that you're dealing with, we're always looking for great content to be able to share in the Facebook group. For those of you who are watching this in the Facebook group, we have the 7-Figure Circle, $1 Million Mastermind, which is a free Facebook group full of trainings, master classes, great content like this video and others. I guess I'm patting myself on the back, calling it great content. But if you think it's valuable, then hopefully it is for you. And what we want to be able to do is share more of these things with you to be able to continue to help the community of entrepreneurs to grow, become more powerful and impactful. And yes, build bigger businesses that create more impact, a bigger footprint of good and positivity in the world. So with that being said, I don't see any other comments, so we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate the check marks. And as always, I'm Frederick Douglass Bussey. Ever forward.